And welcome into Pinnacle Bank Arena for the Class B semifinals, starting off with the #1 ranked Crete Cardinals going off against the #4 ranked Omaha Skutt Skyhawks. So my name is Wilson Dittman, joined alongside my partner, as always, Mason Steinhoff. We're going to start with you first, Mason. And we're here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Let's just talk about this game, and what do you see for both teams?
Well, for Crete right now, people argue that they are the best team in the state because of that undefeated record they have. And when I look at their roster, they've got Aiden McDowell, one of the best guards on this team. He's scoring 19 points per game, by far the leading point scorer on this roster for Crete. And also you have to take into consideration Ben Ehlers. He's another guard on this team. He's shooting 58% from the field, one of the most accurate shooters on this team, another really great shooter. And when I look at Skutt, Wilson, they've made it a long way, considering they're a 6th-loss team in this tournament. But really, since the tough way they ended the month of January back in the regular season, they've been on fire with the win streak that they have going for them right now.
Yeah, that's a good point there that you made about Crete, that some people think that not only Class B, that they might be the best team in all of the state of Nebraska, even Class A. And again, you see the record on the screen right now, 26-0. That's as good as it gets, folks. And then Skutt, on the other hand, they're a team that's been in this state title before. They won it last year. They're an experienced squad led by Brock Skull, the big man, the 6'8 center. So watch for him to have a big day in order for Skutt to get to the next round. Again, it's basically a battle of the new blood versus the old blood here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. So the game's going to get started in about 3 or so minutes. We see Crete just took the floor, getting ready for some warm-ups. But let's look at the crowd here, get a little perspective of the crowd. So Crete definitely showed up today. Pretty good parent section right now, and then the student section obviously very well represented. On the Skutt side, pretty good as well, a little bit thinner like you'd expect from an Omaha school. Crete a little bit closer here to Lincoln. Then the student section for Skutt not as good perhaps, but again, both teams represent very well here at Pinnacle Bank Arena with everything on the line, a spot in the Class B state title game tomorrow afternoon. So again, we will be back here. You see the timer on the screen. We'll be back right when that timer hits 0, and we'll talk about pregame some more along with the opening lineup. So see you then, folks. And welcome back to Pinnacle Bank Arena for the Class B semifinals. It's had a beautiful rendition of the national anthem by the Crete marching band. And now they're announcing the benches of Skutt first, then they'll go to Crete. And then after that, they will go to the starting lineups. So again, right now they're going through Skutt. Skutt, the away team today, so they are in their all blacks. A little bit of green in there as well, their patented green. Student section, however, again, about 3 rows deep, wearing the all whites today. The other side of things, when we talk about Crete, they're wearing the all whites as the home team, and their student section a little bit deeper. We've got middle schoolers and high schoolers alike. I'd say about 8 rows deep. Very good representation from Crete today, and they're going with a jersey theme. And also, they brought their entire band today. We got to represent. I mean, their band is huge compared to what else we've seen from other schools. So they're done with the Skutt's bench. Now they're going through Crete's bench, and then we will announce the starting lineups for both squads. All right. So they're done with the benches for both teams. Now let's get to Skutt's starting lineup. Starting off with number 3, Kyle Cannon, averaging about 10 points per game for the Skyhawks. Up next, number 10, Will O'Doherty. Now number 12, Dylan Van Dyke. Now Brock Scholl, number 44. And last but not least, 6'8" center, George Zebel. So that's the starting lineup for Skutt. Now let's get into the Crete Cardinals, undefeated. So getting ready for the Cardinals. Starting off with number 5, Theo Bowling. Now Aiden McDowell, averaging about 20 points per game. Justice Gardner and Kenner Viak. And then Trace Eggy. And now let's get ready to play some basketball. Both teams taking the court. Tony Siskey, head coach for the Crete Cardinals. About to meet at midcourt to shake hands, and let's get ready for some basketball. So they meet on the Husker logo, and let's get this thing started. Man, the Crete student section already getting amped to go. So here we go. The Crete Cardinals in their all whites. They're going to go left to right here in this first half. Skutt on the other end in their all blacks going right to left. A bid for the Class B state title on the line here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Let's get this thing underway. Justice Gardner will do tip-off duties for Crete. Brock Scholl on the other end for the Skyhawks.
Who wants to make it to that championship game more?
So here we go. Refs letting them go. The tip is up, and Skutt wins it, and let's get this thing started. Kyle Cannon gives it over to Scholl on the wing. And good ball movement around the perimeter. Back over to Cannon. Now over to Van Dyke. Van Dyke trying to drive inside, gives it over to Scholl. Scholl trying to work his way inside, kicks it back out again to the right wing this time. Throws up a three-pointer, no good. Rebound by Crete. Crete to bring down the other way. Aiden O'Donnell across the timeline. Now working his way. Puts up a mid-range, no good. And Skutt comes down with the board. Now the Skyhawks on the other end. Kyle Cannon Gives it over to Van Dyke. Now in the corner to O'Dirty. O'Dirty to Skull at the top of the key. Now back over to Cannon. Working his way inside. Kicks it back over to Cannon. Now to O'Dirty again. Good ball movement. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Has to find Skull in the corner. Trying to work his way inside. Has to kick it to somebody. Throws it over to Van Dyke. Van Dyke, tough mid-range. Up in, no good. Rebound by Crete. Gardner going the other end right now for the Cardinals. On the left wing. Now driving inside. Pushing his way into the paint. Kicks it over to the wing. Three-pointer on the way. No good. Crete gets their own board. But ball almost goes out of bounds and is taken away by Skutt. Now they're going the other way. Fast break. Over to Skull. Tough layup, and he's fouled on the way up. And the Crete fans are already not happy with it. Minimal contact. Well, that's going to send Brock Skull to the free throw line. So that's the first foul on Crete. And that'll send Skull to the line. First one for Skull up and no good. So this game remains a 0-0.
And in the sport of basketball, you just want to capitalize when you go to the free throw line as much as possible.
Second one for Brock Skull on the way and got it. So Skutt strikes first, 1-0 ball game here in the opening 2 minutes at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Aiden McDonald bringing it across. Gives it over to Theo Bowling on the left wing. Working his way around the perimeter. Now gives it over to Gardner. Gardner trying to work his way inside. Back over to McDowell. McDowell driving to the paint. Almost found the way out. There's no foul called. Ball goes out of bounds. It'll be off of him. Both players for Crete and Skutt alike met with some contact, but refs let him play. So Canada bringing it across the timeline. Now over to Skull on the left wing. And we're seeing this ball moving all around the perimeter. Skutt not driving in, just trying to find some openings in this Crete defense. Crete running a man-to-man. It looks like there was a foul off the ball when Skutt was just passing all around the perimeter. That'll go on the Cardinals. So that's their second early on here. So Van Dyke's going to inbound for Skutt. Throws it all the way over to the top of the key to Cannon. Cannon working off a screen, trying to drive inside. Kicks it over to the corner. Skull, three-pointer on the way. Got it. Brock Skull with the opening 4 points for Omaha Skutt. Crete needs to respond. Still is yet to have one. McDowell, tough mid-range J and a double team, and he got it to go. 2 Skutt players went up to try to block that, and McDowell said no problem. Skutt now trying to go quick. Feeding Zebel inside. Post move, no good. There's going to be a foul on Skutt when the shot went up. So Crete's going to inbound. Or excuse me, there wasn't a foul on Skutt. It was just a travel. So McDowell bringing it across the other way. Gives it over to Gardner. Gardner trying to work his way inside to the baseline. Now to kick it over. Floater on the way. Got it. Nice feed over to VTAC.
Great execution from Crete there.
Now Skutt on the other end, all tied up at 4-4. Corner three on the way for the Skyhawks. Got it again. This time it was Dylan Van Dyke who connects.
That's the way you want to respond if you're Skutt. Very nice.
McDowell now working for Crete. Tough layup, got it to go. Both teams trading buckets. So now Skutt up by 1 point. 5 minutes here left to go in the first quarter. Trying to work inside to Zebel. Taken away by Crete. Fast break, a 1-on-2. McDowell leads the charge. Driving inside. Tough layup. Got it to go. Aiden McDowell taking over here in this first quarter. Dylan Van Dyke has it right now for Skutt. Gives it over to O'Dirty. Trying to work his way inside. Good ball movement once again. Now over to Skull. Skull to the corner. Pass up a three. Over to the top of the key. Now three-pointer on the way. Got it. Skutt 3 for 3 from triple. So a 10-8 ball game. McDowell for Crete. Gives it over to the corner. To VTAC. Now working his way inside. Tough layup, got it to go. He got it over to Trace Eggy. Now Skutt, and you've seen them to be very, very fast-paced. The Crete fans want to travel, don't get it. Three-pointer now on the way to the top of the key. Got it again. Skutt is unconscious. Dylan Van Dyke connects for triple once again. Skutt off to the start they wanted. Now three-pointer on the way for Crete. No good, rattles out. Both teams fighting for the board. Skutt has to save it, and they do indeed do so. Van Dyke over to Cannon. Three-pointer now on the way. Finally, Skutt misses. Ball goes out of bounds, and it'll be off of one of the Skutt players. So a couple of players checking in now for both teams. Again, after a dramatic first 5 minutes here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Both teams want this one bad. And the first time these teams faced, it was a battle. Crete won by 6 points. A lot of people expect Skutt to potentially get that upset. Dunk for Crete. Little backdoor cut off of the timeout. Got things going. And that was Aiden McDonald again.
You got to give a lot of credit to Kenner Savitak there with the pass, too.
Linderman now for Skutt, who just checked in off the bench. Gives it over to Wiesek. Taken away by a Crete player. Vertek over to Heath. Back and forth action. Now finally puts up a layup and got it to go. So now Cannon for Skutt. Passes over to the corner. And you see this ball movement all day today. Now corner three on the way. Kind of gap in the defense, no good. Rebound by Crete. Working the other way. Heath going quick. Now gives over the corner. That's McDowell. McDowell trying to find separation. Now just kicks it off to the corner once again. And there's going to be a foul on the floor that'll go on Skutt. So that's Skutt's first foul here in this first quarter. Both teams not really in foul trouble. Verton to inbound for the Crete Cardinals, right under his own basket. Verton looking for a man. Feeds a man right under the basket. Nice pump fake, but he misses the second chance. He's fouled on the way up. So nice little feed over to Vitek. And Vitek with one miss, but's fouled. So that's going to send Kenner Vitek to the line for two. Crete up by one with 2 minutes left to go here in this first period of play. First one for Kenner Vitek up and got it. Second one now, all net once again, and Crete's up to a 3-point lead. So Skutt, who came out of the gates firing, has been held silent here in the last 2 minutes. They're working all around the perimeter. They give it over to Cannon on the left wing. He's trying to drive inside. Good defense by Crete. Tough layup. No good. Skutt's fight for the board. They don't get it. Gardner will bring it down the other end. He brings it across the timeline. Now gives it over to Bowling. Bowling on the left wing. He'll reset. Back over to Gardner. Gardner pump fakes on the right wing. Trying to drive inside on Brock. And has to just kick it back over to Verton. Verton with a tough pass taken away by Skutt. He's all alone. An easy layup. And Skutt's now within one. So McDowell will slow things down right now for the Cardinals. Bring it across the timeline. Trying to work his way inside. Tough mid-range. Somehow fell for Aiden McDowell. He was trying to force some contact, put up just a crazy floater from almost the three-point line, and it just fell. This guy cannot miss.
Yeah, McDowell by far the leading point scorer in this roster, and he's showing out today.
Skutt on the other end. Working on the baseline, trying to drive inside. This Crete defense has been ferocious. They're going to have to reset. Doherty has it at the top of the key. 40 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Now they give it over to Ken on the right wing. Trying to feed the big man inside. Doesn't pass to him. Now throws up a crazy three. No good. Rebounded by Gardner. Shot clock is now off. Crete can hold to get one last look here at the end of the first quarter. Looks like that's what they're going to do. Tony Siski calling for them to hold. So Aiden McDowell has on the Husker logo right at the midline. 15 seconds now. Gives it over to Virch on the right wing. Now over to Gardner. Back to Dowell. McDowell being double teamed. Gives it to Gardner on the corner. Puts up a long three. No good. Rebound by Skutt. They're going to have to throw something up. They don't do it in time. And almost makes it there. But, yeah, it was a little bit too late. And that'll be the end of the first quarter here at Millard South Media. Crete up 18-15 over Omaha Skutt, but a back-and-forth ball game, folks. So we're going to take a very quick break with us, and we'll be right back. So welcome back to this one. The number one ranked Class B team, the Crete Cardinals, up 18 over Omaha Skutt, but again, a back-and-forth ball game, Mason.
Yeah, both teams really playing exceptional offense right now. And looking at Crete's regular season schedule, they really had no trouble beating anybody really besides Skutt, but they still came out on the top in that game. So I think if I'm Skutt, I'm having revenge on my mind right now.
Absolutely. So both teams retaking the floor. Crete inbounds, and let's get this thing started. 8 minutes left to go here in this first half. Eggy trying to work his way inside, kicks it over to Vitek on the right wing. Now back to McDowell's having a career day already. Spin move, kicks out to the corner. Now three-pointer on the way for Crete. No good. Rebound by Skutt. O'Dirty will bring it across the other end. Now gives it over to Van Dyke. Van Dyke maneuvering his way to the paint. No, tough turnaround. Jay rattles, no good. Rebound by Skutt. Second chance, no good as well. And Crete comes down with the board. Gardner will bring it across the timeline. Back over to the corner now. That's Vitek. Vitek. A little back and forth action. Now three-pointer on the way. No good from the right wing. Rebound by Skutt. The Skyhawks have been cold in the last couple minutes. They're trying to go quick here, feeding it into the big man. Ball's poked out of bounds, and it'll stay with the Skyhawks. And that's going to be the key for this game. If they can get Brock Skoll and George Vbell, the basketball, the two big 6'8" centers, Skutt is going to be hard to beat.
All about efficient passing.
Absolutely. So Kyle Cannon trying to drive inside. He is fouled. A hard foul. Just kind of just put something up and draw some contact. So that's going to be the first foul on Crete here in this first quarter. Skutt's going to inbound under their own basket, down by 3. Van Dyke, or excuse me, Kyle Cannon now will inbound. And they throw it up to Brock Skoll, the top of the key. Now over to George Zebel on the left wing. Tough pass back to Cannon. He puts him in mid-range. Jay wide open, no good. Rebound by Crete. The Cardinals bring it across the midline. That's Aiden McDowell. A little back and forth action. Back to McDowell. Tough, strong three-pointer. Got it to go. Aiden McDowell. My goodness, this guy is unconscious.
And he makes it look really easy, too, Wilson. He's just showing up to games wanting to be the best player he can be for himself and his teammates.
And that's going to force a Skutt timeout off of, what's this called, what it is, a crazy Aiden McDowell three. He brought it across the timeline, gave it right back over to Vitek, who gave it right back to McDowell. And right off the dribble, pulled up, three-pointer on the way, swish. So that's going to force a timeout first of this ball game by Omaha Skutt. 21-15 is their score, and right now it looks like if they can't stop Aiden McDowell, they never will be able to, Mason.
It's a player you must contain.
And looking at Skutt, again, they came off the gates firing, went 3 for 3 from three-point land, but ever since then it has been a struggle to get a consistent offense alive, and they haven't really fed their big men as like we thought they would, whether that's Brock Skoll or George Zebel. So again, full timeout here from Skutt, down by 6. And looking at the stats right now, Aiden McDowell with 13 points already to go in this first half. He's averaging 20 points per game on the season. Crete, which brought a large student section along with a lot of parents, really amping up their boys. So both teams ready to retake the floor. 6 minutes 40 left to go here in this first half. Crete in their all whites as the home team, as the 1 seed. They're going to play defense here as Skutt inbounds. So Skutt going right to left in their all blacks. Will Doherty gives it over to Van Dyke on the right wing. Trying to work his way back to the top of the key. Fits it into Zebel, who's trying to back down a man. Now pass it right back over to O'Doherty. He's working his way inside. Kicks it over to the corner. Tipped. Now has to drive baseline. Tough layup, and he's fouled on the way up. Nice job by Dylan Van Dyke, who basically caught a tipped pass. Just drove in, got some contact, and now he'll go to the line, shooting some free throws. So already 2 fouls here in the second quarter for Crete. First free throw now on the way for Skutt. Got it to go.
And if Skutt wants to, ease back into this game here, it does start at the free throw line. He's got to make both of these.
Van Dyke makes the first one. Second one now. Got it as well. Van Dyke leading scorer right now for Omaha Skutt with 8 points. So Trace Eggy being trapped at the midline, gets across, no problem, over to Vitek. Vitek over to Gardner on the left wing, now back to McDowell. McDowell being guarded very closely, already has 11 points. Trying to drive inside, being double teamed, tough mid-range, no good. This guy has the green light at any point in time. He's going to shoot it. So Kyle Candle bringing it across the timeline for Skutt, down by 4. Now they're at the Husker logo. Gives it over to the left wing. Now right back to the top of the key. You see this great ball movement by Skutt, but they're been unable to really get into the paint. Now over to Skull, to the top of the key. Three-pointer on the way, no good. And rebound by Gardner of Crete. He'll bring it down the other end. McDowell to the corner. Back to McDowell on the right wing. Again, he's being double-teamed when Skutt can. Has to give it over to Vitek. Vitek working on the top of the key. Basically press defense right now by Omaha Skutt, and it's working. 15 seconds on the shot clock. They're going to drive inside. Right-handed layup off the glass. Got it to go. Trace Eggy finds a lapse in the Crete defense, or excuse me, the Skutt defense, and he takes advantage. So the Cardinals up by 6. Skutt trying to respond. They drive inside. Van Dyke, no good. Ball goes out of bounds, and it'll stay with the Skyhawks. So Skutt to inbound under their own basket. Van Dyke surveying. Now fits it in over to Skull, and he makes it look easy. Easy bucket for the 6'8" big man. So now McDowell bringing it across the timeline, working on the right wing, and he's fouled. Fouled hard on the ground. So now Crete to inbound right across the midline. They give it over to Gardner, who's just going to set up the offense. Trying to give it over to McDowell. Skutt trapping him, trying to not get it to him. They do successfully. So McDowell at the top of the key, back over to Gardner, working on the right wing. Now over to the corner. They pass him a good look from 3. Eggy will just reset on the left wing. Back to Gardner. Just ball movement right around the perimeter, trying to find a lapse in the defense. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Now working on the left wing, driving inside, backing down. Now Gardner, 3-pointer on the way from the corner, no good. Rebound by Skutt. They're going across the other end, going quick. Van Dyke on the left wing, stops his dribble, over the top of the key, long 3-pointer, got it! Brock Skull, the big man, connects from the distance.
Skull, a player you just cannot get comfortable at the top of the key.
McDowell on the other end, 3-pointer, got it again! Aiden McDowell just working right off the dribble. And he has Kobe range.
So there were, a little bit of stoppages there from the fouls, and now the teams are just trading off baskets right now.
Skull on the other end now for Crete. Or excuse me, Skutt. Skutt driving inside, tough layup, no good, rebound by Crete. And there's going to be a foul on Skutt, fighting for that rebound. So right when it looked like Omaha Skutt was getting back in this ball game, Aiden McDowell comes back with a massive three-pointer off the dribble. Head coach for Crete, Tony Siski, making a couple check-ins off the bench. Again, everything on the line in this ball game with a bid for the Class B state title next afternoon on the line.
McDowell with 16 points right now. Skutt's got to create mismatches with him.
So now we see a Skutt full court press. First time we've seen that today. McDowell gets across the midline easy. Almost broke some ankles. Now they give it over to Gardner, working on the top of the key, trying to work off a screen. Now over to the left wing now. Driving baseline, tough mid-range on the way. Rattles around, no good. Rebound by Van Dyke of Skutt. And there's going to be a foul on the floor on Crete when they were fighting for that board. Some more check-ins right now for Crete. They're going deep in their bench with 3 minutes left to go in the first half. So Cannon brings across the timeline, going right to left, trying to cut the deficit. Now over to Van Dyke on the right wing. Again, great ball movement. Now Skoll with a three-pointer. Got it again. Brock Skoll cannot miss. And there's a reason why this guy averages about 20 points per game, but rarely do you see a big man just have the range that he does. So McDowell trying to answer right now for Crete, and there's a foul on the floor. And one of the underrated parts of Aiden McDowell's offense is for his ability to draw fouls. Anytime he gets any contact, he has an ability to either go to the free throw line or have an inbound coming. Inbound to Crete. McDowell, tough layup, rattles home. Again, he puts up the craziest layups you'd ever see, and somehow they always connect. Cannon working on the right wing now for Skutt. A three-pointer would tie up this ball game. He has it now in the corner. Passes up a good look from three. Throws it all the way to the other corner. Now to the left wing. O'Dirty. Back to Van Dyke. Van Dyke throws it back over to the left corner, and it's too high. Some tough passes by Skutt, and that's all thanks to this great Crete defense. So Crete to inbound. They give it over to Gardner. Now Vitek at the top of the key. Backward to McDonald. Long three-pointer. Got it! Aiden McDowell! Unbelievable. He was about 5 feet behind that three-point line. All net for this kid. Up to 19 points.
And what an athlete he is.
Van Dyke over to the corner right now for Skutt, down by 6 points with 1:30 left to go in the first half. Working all the way around the perimeter. Now trying to work his way inside, almost taken away by Crete. Stays with Skutt, trying to make something happen, and there's a foul on the floor. Is this Aiden McDowell kid special or what? Like, we don't have the official stat tracker until the state title game tomorrow, but we'd assume that he's probably shooting about 75% right now from the field.
Yep. An electrifying player. And he's electrifying this crowd here at PBA.
So off of the Crete foul, Skutt is going to inbound under their own basket. 1:20 left to go here in this first half. They give it over to Skoll on the right corner. Working on Gardner, trying to feed Z-Bell inside. He doesn't pass it to him. Now has to reset. Over to Cannon on the right wing. Maneuvering his way inside. Tough layup, no good. Fighting for his own board. Taken away by Crete. They're going to go fast break. A 2-on-1. They lead the charge. A little pass taken away by Skutt. Goes out of bounds. And yep, they're going to say it's Skutt basketball. So nice job by the Skutt Hawks to get back on defense. And Crete with just a poor pass inside the lane.
The pass just a little too late as they were driving down the court there.
So officially 1 minute left to go here in this first half. Doherty gives it over to Skoll. Now to Linderman. Linderman throws it to the right corner. Trying to work their way inside. Back over to Skoll. Tough led, but there's a foul before the shot. So that is Crete's 5th foul, which is going to send Skutt to the bonus. So Brock Skoll at the line. First one for him to try to cut this deficit. No good. Rattles out. Second one now for Brock Skoll. Got it. So now Crete only up to a 5-point lead. They'll bring it across the timeline. Grace Taggy over to Garner. There's about a 10-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Both teams are going to get one last look here in the second quarter. They give it over to the right corner. 3-point on the way for Crete. No good. Rebound by Skutt. Brock Skoll has it. Shot clock is now off with 20 seconds. Kyle Cannon will bring it across the Husker logo. You can see a signal from their head coach, Kyle Juergens, just to wait and get one last look. They give it over now to Brock Skoll on the right wing, working all the way around the perimeter. Now at the top of the key. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Need to put a shot up. They do. Crazy mid-range, and it's air ball. Not even close. And once again, Crete with a huge defensive stand, and that'll be the end of the first half here on Millard South Media. Crete with a 5-point lead over Omaha Skutt. Man, oh man, what a first half we've seen here. So let's go to the face cam and let's talk over this first half. Again, my name is Wilson Dittman alongside my partner, as always, Mason Steinhoff. Crete, Mason, as good as advertised.
Yeah, and it really just the story's been McDowell on their side. He had 21 points in that first half. There's really no stopping him. It's just Skutt has to contain that guy. Maybe mirror what they're doing with Scroll player who has 13 points in the half for Skutt. But really, what I saw was the battle in the paint was really fierce too. And I think going into the second half, whichever team crashes the board more is more physical is going to come out on top, Wilson.
So right off the gate, Skutt is the more height advantage team. They have a couple guys at 6'8", but haven't been able to feed him inside, whether that's Brock Skoll or George Zebel. And then when we talk about Crete, I mean, Aiden McDowell, as good as it gets, 21 points in that first half. He's averaging 20 a game. He's on pace for 40, about as good as it gets for a first half performance here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. So we're going to be back in about 10 or so minutes. We're going to have a timer on the screen and then rejoin us then. Again, a bid for the state title tomorrow afternoon on the line. So thank you guys for joining us here on Millard South Media. And I just want to point this out again. You can pop in, check the scoreboard that we have on the screen, or just listen to the call. Whatever you want to do, we have it here. So we will be right back with you here on Millard South Media in about 10 or so minutes. And welcome back to Millard South Media. We have about 4 or so minutes till we get underway with the second half. Right now, Crete up by 5 over Omaha Skutt. Again, my name is Dittman alongside my partner Mason Steinhoff. And Mason, let's start with you again. Let's go over what you saw throughout that first half if you're just joining us.
Well, I saw really exceptional offense, Wilson. For Crete, of course, Aiden McDowell had a big half, scoring 21 points. And for Skutt, they had Skutt had a great half too. It's a lot of good offense, really competitive inside the paint for both of these teams. And I think whoever's more competitive this second half inside the paint, like I just said, I think they're going to come out on top, Wilson.
Absolutely. So Crete retaking the floor, again, getting some warm-ups going. Skutt about to retake as well. Let's just talk about some of these teams again in detail. We talk about Skutt first. They have not lost since the month of January. Again, they have 6 losses to their name, but on a little bit of a winning streak, and beat Elkhorn yesterday night, 69-61. And then we look at Crete, of course, the number 1 seed. Some people say they might not be the best team in Class B, but the entire state of Nebraska, they've not lost all season. And then when you look at their scores, most of these wins, 20, 25, 30 points. And you're seeing that wide today right now with Aiden McDowell and the rest of their team. And really, I think the best part of what Crete is doing offensively, is not offensively. It's their defensive presence. They're really shutting down Skutt, especially their big men inside. Crete, to their credit, they don't have as many big men as Skutt does, but they're really stopping those 6'8 centers. So, again, about 2 minutes till we get underway. Let's roll through some of the other scores here at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Devaney in other classes, starting off with C1, which was earlier, and Wahoo got a big win. They're going to go to the C1 title game, a little bit of an upset over Omaha Concordia. And then we just saw Auburn beat Ashland Greenwood, who a lot of people expected to win the C1 title. They beat them. They beat them 43-32. So Wahoo and Auburn will face in the C1 title tomorrow at about 11 a.m. So we're going to be here with that stream, along with all the streams tomorrow. You know where to go. Millard South Media on YouTube. We're going to have all of the audio broadcasts here. And again, we have the score bug on the screen, so if you just want to pop in, check the score, that's all right with us. As for a couple other scores right now in Devaney for the C2 semifinals, Amherst currently leads Cross County 35-21, and it looks like the Broncos will probably make their way to the C2 title as well. Some other scores throughout today in the D1 semifinals. Ainsworth barely beats Guardian Angels Central Catholic. They beat them 54-53. So Carter Nelson Ainsworth, Nebraska commit, he will be in the state title game tomorrow at 9 o'clock a.m. And Johnson Brock gets it done against Plainview 72-36. So again, that will be Johnson Brock versus Ainsworth, 9 a.m. here on Millard South Media for the D1 final. So about 45 or so seconds, we're going to take the face cam off the screen, and let's get back to this ball game. So both teams huddling up on the floor, getting ready to go for the second half of action. Again, it was back and forth for the most part. Then Crete really took advantage in that second quarter. Aiden McDowell came alive, and that's why the score is what it is. He has, right now for Crete, 21 points, on pace for 40. I do want to mention on stream, because my grandpa is listening, that the Crete head coach was one of my dad's best friends, along with, again, knowing my grandpa. So Tony Siski, head coach right now for Crete. We don't want to be biased here in Millard South Media, but a little bit of a family relation to Crete. And they lead right now by 5. So here we go. Both teams retaking the floor. 16 minutes left of action for a bid at the Class B state title. Let's get this thing underway. Brock Skoll on the left wing. Gives it over to Kyle Cannon on the top of the key. Skutt is going left to right here on the floor. Trying to feed Zeber inside. Tough layup, no good. Trying to fight for his own board. Rebound by Crete. They'll go the other end. Vitek leads the charge, and he'll slow things down by giving it over to Eggy. Eggy over the top of the key, back over to Vitek. Vitek on the left wing. Now over to Gardner. Gardner working on Skoll. Spin move. Tough layup. Falls and one. Justice Gardner with a circus layup. And he will go to line for one more. The free throw for Gardner up and in. 8-point ball game here at the start of the second half. O'Doherty gives it over to Cannon on the top of the key, over to Van Dyke on the left wing, working all the way around the perimeter. We've seen this from Skutt all year long. Now Van Dyke trying to drive inside. Tough pass over to Cannon. The ball will go out of bounds. Crete's defense, we talked about it at halftime, is at the focal point of this team, and they're shutting down Skutt.
It's the little mistakes that you cannot have happen if you're Skutt. You got to get your passes off cleanly.
So VTech has it right now for Crete. He gives it over to McDowell on the Husker logo. Now over to Gardner on the right wing, coming off of a big and one. Back and forth action. They feed McDowell in the corner. Three-pointer on the way. No good air ball. Hayden McDowell, who couldn't miss in the first half, comes back to life. Cannon on the other end right now for Skutt, trying to drive baseline. Now has to just kick it out. Over to Doherty. Doherty to Van Dyke. Pass up a good look from three. Tough pass taken away by Crete. One-on-one fast break, and there's a foul on the floor. Trace Egge was trying to make his way down to the basket and just collided right with a Skutt player. And he's shaking up a little bit. It looks like he got the wind knocked out of him. It was a hard collision. And he'll be okay. So Crete to inbound after the Skutt foul. They give it over to number 3, Egge. Now to Gardner. Gardner back over to Egge, trying to find a man wide open inside. He does just that. VTech found a lapse in the Skutt defense, and the lead right now for Crete is up to 10. And there's going to be a timeout on the floor. That'll be on Skutt.
Great job just setting up that easy layup.
Again, this is a back and forth ball game, but Crete now flexing their muscles and really took it to Skutt in the last couple minutes.
I think if you're Skutt right now, you know, Crete beat you earlier in the regular season. So I think you just have to have revenge on your mind here. I mean, you're down 10 points, a little over 6 minutes to go in this third quarter. Stay true to yourselves as players. Play as a team. Don't forget that there's a championship at stake.
Absolutely.
Play your heart out.
So both teams retaking the floor after Skutt's second timeout. They have 3 remaining. Crete with all 5 in the back pocket. Skutt will inbound down by 10. They give it over to Doherty on the center line. Now over to Cannon left wing, back over to Doherty. We're now seeing a 2-3 zone defense by Crete. Crete double teaming on the wing. Skutt finds an opening in the corner, 3-point on the way. No good, but there's a foul. Crete ran into the shooter on the way down. And it looks like that is going to send Doherty to the line for 3.
Yeah, not what you want to do if you're Crete.
So instead, it's going to send Kyle Cannon to the line for 3 free throws, and that is a massive break right now for Omaha Skutt. So first free throw on the way, got it to go. And that's the thing about Crete's defense sometimes. When you're so physical, you can have a couple fouls called against you, especially right there trying to crash the shooter. Second one now for Cannon, up and in as well. One of the better free throw shooters on this squad. He's making the Cardinals pay. So first 2 were up and in. Third one now on the way, and he is perfect. 3 for 3. And the lead for Crete is only up to 7. Full court press look from Skutt. Crete will get across the midline just fine. VTech trying to drive inside. Good pass. And it's up and in for Crete. No foul. He found Theo Bowling wide open in the paint.
Skutt's defense was just not on the same page.
Cannon now on the other end for Skutt. They give it over to Linderman. Linderman back over to Cannon on the right wing. Over to Skoll, who hasn't done really much in the second half, trying to back down Gardner. And that'll be poked free, and Crete will take over. Skoll with no points here in this second half. Crete really taking it to him. Now Gardner on the other end working on Skoll, and there's going to be a travel called. So his eyes got ahead of his feet, and Crete with a missed opportunity. Up by 9 still. Skutt trying to cut into that deficit. Doherty across the timeline. 5 minutes left to play here in this third quarter. Over to Dylan Van Dyke. Now back over to Doherty at the top of the key, trying to work their way inside of a backdoor cut. Now over to Skull on the right wing. Contested three-pointer on the way. Got it. Brock Skull finally wakes up here in the second half with a massive triple. Now they're trying to trap Gardner, and there's going to be a timeout called by Tony Siski of Crete to talk this one over.
Yeah, but Skutt going on a little bit of a run here. Crete's got to refocus.
So we're going to keep it right here during the timeout. Again, Crete uses their first. They have 4 remaining. And again, I want to remind everybody that we will be back with the Class B semifinal up next. Norris taking on, let's see, I believe, I can't think of the team that Norris is playing right now, Mason. I mean, just a lapse. There we go. No, number 3, Scotts Bluff. Thank you. So number 2, Norris versus number 3, Scotts Bluff up next. And the winner of that game will play the winner of this one. And then after Class B, the Class A semifinals, we have Bell West versus Omaha Central at 6 o'clock, along with Millard North at Westside at 7:45. So we will have all of those covered here on Millard South Media. Again, these games are not on television, so this is really the perfect spot to be. We have the score bug on the screen. We have the live commentary. Just pop in, check out what's going on. Again, please subscribe to the channel. Again, you can just pop in whenever you want, and we're also going to have all of the championships tomorrow as well. So here we go. Both teams retaking the floor. Crete has it. They bring it across the midline. Eggy has it on the left wing, setting up the offense. Gives it over to Bowling now. Bowling feeding over to McDowell. Tough lip on the way. Rattles no good. Rebound by Skull of Skutt. Skull gives it over to Cannon. He'll bring it across the midline. Tough pass over to Doherty in the right corner. Pass up a good look from 3. Back over to Cannon. Again, distributing the ball well. Van Dyke working his way inside. Tough mid-range, no good. Rebound by Gardner of the Cardinals. He brings it across the other way. Eggy on the right wing. Passes it over to the corner. That's Vitek. Over now to Gardner, who's working his way inside on Skull. Over the corner. Now three-pointer on the way. Bowling, no good. Rebound by Skutt. There's a collision in the backcourt. It's right now a 4-on-4. They're trying to take advantage of it. Skutt in the post. Got it to go. Guess who? The big man, Brock Skull. So Skutt really cut in that deficit. What was once a 10-point lead for Skutt is now only down to a 4. Gardner on the Husker logo. Working his way inside. Tough layup. No good, and there's a travel on him called.
And I believe he's had more than one travel call on him. Got to get that cleaned up.
So one of the Skutt players limping off the floor. Again, there was a collision in the backcourt. That's Eddie Linderman, the 6th man on this Skutt squad. That's a loss. So quick stoppage as they get him off, and it looks perhaps like he just has a bloody nose. So nothing too serious, but yeah, they're wiping up some blood. So because of that, they're going to situate themselves. There's going to be a quick stoppage. Crete's going to meet with their head coach along with Skutt, just cleaning up this blood on the floor. So again, quick stoppage here. 3 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. Crete leads by 4. Both teams meeting with their head coaches coming off of an injury timeout. Again, if you're just joining us, my name is Wilson Dittman, your play-by-play, along with my partner, Mason Steinhoff. And again, Mason, Aiden McDowell had 21 points in this first half for Crete. He has yet to score a bucket in the second.
Skutt doing relatively nicer job on defense coming out into this second half. They got to continue it, though, leading into the fourth quarter and the end of the game.
And Mason, we talked about it pregame a little bit. This is a battle of new blood versus old blood. Skutt, about as old blood as it gets in Class B. A team is very successful in basically every sport, and they've been in this Class B title through and through. And Crete, undefeated, more of a new blood team trying to get to the Class B title for the first time in a long while. So let's send it back down the floor after the injury timeouts. Once again, Crete leads by 4. Skutt is going to inbound. Doherty brings it across the timeline. Man, this is a full crowd here at Pinnacle Bank Arena for a semifinal. Almost at full capacity. This is impressive. So Skutt trying to drive inside. Ball is free. It'll go out of bounds, and it'll be Crete basketball. Gardner gives it over to Vitek and bring it across the midline. Now back to Gardner at the top of the key. Working his way inside. Tough right-handed layup. Got it off the glass. Justice Gardner. And he's been the one to have consecutive big plays here for Crete. Skutt trying to respond. Ball moving all around the perimeter. Cannon working his way inside. Over to Van Dyke. Driving baseline. Spin move. Backing his man down. Tough layup off the glass. No good. Rebound. Skull for Skutt. Second chance now. Pump fake. And he's fouled on the way up. So, excuse me, that was Zebel for Omaha Skutt. And there are 2 free throws on the way.
So Skutt having trouble finishing into the cup there. They're like, why not just draw the foul?
Second free throw, got it. So now Crete the other end. Trying to work their way inside, being patient offensively. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Now ball's taken away by Skutt. Doherty over to Skull on the right corner. Trying to feed Zebel inside. Good defense by Skutt. They're going to have to reset. Skutt down by 5. Has not led since the first quarter in this ball game. Now over to Skull, being double teamed. Over to Zebel now inside. Big man to big man. And there's a charging foul on Zebel. Runs right over a Crete defender.
And I understand that call there. Pretty aggressive foul there. Looks like he elbowed him on the replay.
So now Crete will bring it across the midline. Full court press look from Skutt, but that's no problem for the Cardinals. Under 2 minutes left to play here in the third quarter. Gardner at the top of the key. Gives it over to McDowell, who's at a quiet third quarter. Now to Gardner. Three-pointer on the way. No good. Air ball. Second chance now for Crete off of an offensive rebound. Layup. Rattles around. No good. Ball's going to go out of bounds, and it's going to stay with Crete.
So it has felt like Skutt has been inching closer into this matchup, but it's just got to play lockdown defense versus Crete.
So now Crete to inbound at the top of the key. They give it over to Vitek. Vitek on the left wing. Now over to the top of the key. Pass to McDowell on the right wing. Back to Vitek. Pass him a good look from 3. Working his way now to Gardner. Shot clock is reset. They're at 20 seconds. Now, no, backdoor cut and 1. Aiden McDowell with his 4 points in the second half, and he makes them in a big way. So Aiden McDowell now up to 23 points here in this ball game. We'll go to the free throw line, trying to make it 24.
So McDowell looking to find a rhythm here again. And it's going to start on this free throw line.
Up and in for McDowell, the best free throw shooter on this team, and he connects once again.
83% free throw percentage from the guard.
So Skutt across the other end. They feed the left wing. 3-pointer on the way right now for Cannon. No good. Rebound goes out of bounds, and it will be Crete basketball. 1 minute left to go here in the third quarter. Crete brings across the midline up by 8. Tough pass. The ball go out of bounds, and it will be Crete basketball. So it's going to stay with the Cardinals with officially 1 minute, 1 second. Crete to inbound. They give it over to Verton. Now to Gardner. Gardner, who's had a big third quarter, passes it right back over to Verton, who's coming off of the bench. Verton, ball's poked free, gets his own. Ball moving all around the perimeter, back over to McDowell on the left wing. 10 seconds on the shot clock. He's trying to drive baseline. There's going to be a foul on the floor, and that'll go on Skutt.
A Skutt player looks knocked out down there. He's not getting up right away.
So 40 seconds left to go here in this third quarter. Back and forth ball game, but Crete, again, flexing their muscle, showing you why they're the number 1 seed. Once again, another stoppage on the floor. Refs talking this one over.
So the refs are going to call over Kyle Cannon. He looked to be a little shaken up on the last play.
Yeah, they're going to sub him out. So once again, another injury timeout. Now both teams retaking the floor, getting ready for the inbound. 40 seconds left to go. 5-second difference between shot clock and game clock. You've got to think both teams are going to get one last look here in this third quarter. Van Dyke brings across the Husker logo, down by 8. Has it at the top of the key. Gives it over to Skull on the left wing, now over to Zebel. Working all the way around the perimeter, tough pass to Van Dyke. Now at the top of the key, to the corner, feeding Skull inside, and finally, after a bunch of passes, they find a man wide open for a bucket. Crete, now with 10 seconds left to go here in the third quarter. Working their way across the midline. It's Aiden McDowell being double-teamed, being triple-teamed, poked away by Skutt, and it's going to stay with Crete with 3 seconds left to play.
Oh, you got to give a lot of credit there.
I mean, they triple-teamed him at the three-point line. So there are 3 seconds on the clock officially. Aiden McDowell will inbound. Looking for somebody. They give it right back to him. Long three-pointer on the way for Aiden McDowell. No good off the back part of the iron. Oh, man, was that close. Aiden McDowell with almost a logo three-pointer just hits the back of the iron, and that will be the end of the third quarter here on Millard South Media. A close ball game. And we're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be back for the final 8 minutes to see who gets it to the Class B state title. We'll be right back. And welcome back to this one. Both teams huddling up in between the third and fourth quarters. Crete, the number 1 seed in Class B, up 43-37 over Omaha Skutt. It was a back-and-forth ball game in the first quarter that Aiden McDowell lit fire in the second to give Crete a massive lead going into the halftime. Skutt just been working their way back into this one. Still down 6. So both teams retaking the floor. If you're just joining us, my name is Wilson Dittman alongside my partner Mason Steinhoff. Crete wearing their all whites. Skutt, however, the away team in the all blacks with a green trim. Here we go. Crete is going to inbound. They are going right to left here on the floor. And I don't know if you guys can hear that Crete student section, but oh my goodness, as loud as it gets, they're pumping up their Cardinals. Here we go. 8 minutes left to play to see who gets to the Class B state title. Crete inbounds over to Gardner. He's being double-teamed on the right wing. Has to get it to somebody. Now throws over to VTech. Skutt will double-team him too. Crete having a hard time getting to an open man. And now they find a man wide open in the corner. He'll drive inside. Pass to the other corner. And it looks like they're going to reset. Now, 3-ball on the way from the corner. No good. Rebound Gardner. Second chance now for Crete. Pump fake. And he'll be fouled on the way up. Yeah. So in the first 20 seconds of that possession, Mason, it looked like Skutt was doing a very good job. Crete just finds one lapse in that defense. They're going to send him to the free throw line.
That's what I really liked. I liked their defensive approach there, double teaming. They want to inch closer. They've got to lock down this Crete defense somehow, in some way. It just didn't work out for them there.
So Justice Gardner misses the first free throw. Again, one of the better players on this Crete roster. But he misses the first one. He's averaging 64% this year from the charity stripe. Second one on the way and up and got it. So Justice Gardner gets the Crete lead to 7. Skutt needs points and they need him quick. Cannon has it at the top of the key. Gives it over to Van Dyke. Van Dyke working his way around. Now over to Linderman. Driving baseline, there's going to be a foul on the floor. So a foul on Crete. That is going to be their first here in this fourth quarter. Van Dyke will inbound under his own basket. Looking for somebody. Throws it up to Skull. Now back over to Van Dyke. Van Dyke over to Linderman at the top of the key. Now to Cannon left wing. Maneuvering his way inside. Kicks it back out. Van Dyke, 3-point on the way from the left wing. No good. Rebound Skull. Tipped around. Skutt finally gets under it, and there's going to be another foul on the floor that'll go on the Cardinals. Or excuse me. Crete fans were clapping, but yeah, it will still go on Crete. So Skutt inbounds. They have it at the top of the key. Working their way inside. Tough floater, got it to go off the glass. Linderman off the bench with a nice bucket. So full court press look from Skutt. They're double teaming any Cardinal who has the basketball, trying to trap him behind the midline. Crete needs to get across, and they call a timeout wisely. They were lax the days ago getting across the midline. They were about to be called within 8 seconds. So instead, Tony Siski, head coach for the Crete Cardinals, takes a timeout to talk this thing over. They have 3 timeouts remaining. That's a full timeout. So we're going to keep it right here on Millard South Media. Again, it's been a battle of the stars right now. Aiden McDowell with 24 points for Crete, 21 of those coming in the first half. And then we look at Skutt, Brock Skull with 20 points for the Skyhawks, and most of them came in that second half. And this is one of those games where you feel like it's going to come down to the wire, and whoever has that star player, again, they're going to make the shot they're going to want it the most, and that team's going to go in advance the next round to the state title game.
These kind of games, they always come down to, who wants it more.
Absolutely.
Skutt only down 5 here. They are not out of this basketball game at all, but it's just about,
getting good
playing
looks.
Team basketball
Absolutely.
as well, yeah.
So once again, a full timeout on the floor. Both teams starting to retake the basketball court. Crete has led basically the majority of this ball game. They just have not had the ability to really take over and have anything more than a 10-point lead. Now they're only up by 5. They'll inbound on the Husker logo. Aiden McDowell brings it across the timeline over to Gardner. Gardner on the wing. Looking for a screen to set up. He gives over to Vitek. Vitek now over to McDowell. McDowell on the Husker logo to Vitek. Back and forth action across the perimeter. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Gardner trying to drive inside. Has to put up a tough shot. He does in time. No good, air ball. And because of that, the shot clock will expire and Skutt will take over. So once again, a good defensive possession by Omaha Skutt. And they're just very consistent, a solid defensive team, holding Crete to one of their worst offensive performances all year.
Just under 6 minutes to go. Skutt's got to get a basket here.
Linderman over to Van Dyke on the left wing, trying to feed Skull inside. He now has it on the corner. Feeds it over to Cannon. Tough layup off the glass, no good. Skull gets a board. Second chance now for Skutt, working his way inside. There's going to be a foul on Crete. So that'll be the second foul for Crete. And now Skutt will inbound under their own basket. 5:45 left to play in this one. Cannon looking for somebody, surveying. Running out of time, now gets over to Linderman in the corner. Linderman goes all the way around the perimeter. Now gives it over to Doherty. Back over to Linderman on the right wing. Back and forth action. Van Dyke maneuvering his way to the basket. And one! Dylan Van Dyke makes it look so easy off the glass. And he'll have another trip to the free throw line for one.
And you really couldn't ask for anything more from Skutt on that possession.
So Dylan Van Dyke with an opportunity to get this lead for Crete, only to 2. On the way, no good. And rebound by the Cardinals. They'll bring it across the other end, one-on-one. They'll pass up a good look for 3 now. Backdoor cut, no good off the glass. Rebound by Skutt. They have an opportunity to tie with a three-pointer. Skull driving inside, tough layup, no good. But a foul on Crete on the way up. Skutt has come storming back here in this second half. And it should be noted, Crete almost in foul trouble with 4. One more is going to send Skutt to the bonus. So free throw for Brock Skull up and in. And one thing that's going to be something of note, that Aiden McDowell, as good as he gets with 24 points right now for Crete, they have not had the ability to get anybody else involved offensively. And again, if he's double teamed, you got to have somebody hit down a shot. They haven't found that guy yet. Second one for Brock Skull, up and no good off the back part of the iron. Gardner with the board right now for Crete. He brings it across the Husker logo. On the right wing, guarded closely by Skull. Now kicks it over to the corner. That's Vitek. Now back to Gardner. Gardner taking his time, dancing. Now over to Aiden McDowell. He's got to take a big shot here, being double teamed. Kicks it over to the corner now. Vitek, three-pointer on the way. Hits the back part of the iron, and Skutt comes down the board. Now going quick, Cannon to the rack. No good. Second chance now for Skull. That one rattles home, and we have a tie ball game.
And another example of Skull just coming up clutch.
Skutt fans getting loud. Gardner is going to be fouled across the timeline. And again, Skutt just so consistent, working their way back in here, and it's thanks to Brock Skull. So Crete inbounds. We're all tied up at 44. He has it at the top of the key. Now over to Vitek. Vitek trying to fit it into Gardner. Taken away by Skull. He's all alone. Dunks it home. Brock Skull connects. And Skutt has their first lead here in the second half. Crete needs something to go their way. Skutt with a full court press. They need to get across the timeline, and they do. Aiden McDowell, tough pass over to Vitek. And there is a timeout by Tony Siski of Crete to talk this one over with his boys. And it's safe to say this is the most adversity the Crete Cardinals have faced all year long, Mason.
I mean, these are the kind of games we live for, Wilson. Who wants it more? That's a question everyone's asking right now.
Crete, who led by at most 10 points in this ball game and who were in basically firm control the entire way, Skutt just kept inching their way back, now to the point where Brock Skull, who has 24 points, gives them a 2-point lead with 4 minutes left to play.
And you can just sense that there's been a very big momentum shift. Skutt with all of it right now.
So once again, a full timeout on the floor. Skutt, their fans trying to hype up their boys. Down by 2 points as the #1 seed in this tournament. Aiden McDowell, the star player for the Cardinals, with only 3 points in the second half. You've got to think he's got to come alive in order for Crete to win this basketball game. Here we go. Crete is going to inbound. They give it over to Resny. Now Aiden McDowell on the left wing. trying to drive inside. Kicks it over to Gardner, right back to the wing. He'll drive baseline. Kicks it now over to Resny. Resny on the right wing. Being trapped by Van Dyke, has to drive inside, kicks it over to the corner. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Now to Gardner. Gardner drives baseline, trying to find somebody to pass to. 4 seconds, fits it inside. Tough layup on the way, no good. Rebound by Skutt. They'll bring it across the other way. Cannon over to Van Dyke. Three-pointer from the corner. No good. Rebounded by Crete. Aiden McDowell brings it across the timeline, down by 2. Loses the ball for a second. It's taken by Vitek for Crete. He's now trying to work his way inside. Backing down his man. Now gives it over to McDowell. Resny. Resny with a spin move, drops his man. There's going to be a foul on the floor. They say that he pushed off. Carter Resny, a guard coming off the bench, basically dropped his man off of a spin move. And we'll see the replay here. It looked pretty clean to me, but that's one of those calls that goes against you. And Skutt will take over. Their student section really getting into it, up by 2 points. 3 minutes left to play. A bid for the Class B state title on the line. Doherty has it on the Husker logo. Gives it over to Linderman on the right wing. Now over to Skoll. Now Cannon. Good defense by Crete. Driving baseline. Kicks it over to Skoll. Three-pointer on the way. No good. Rebound Van Dyke. Second chance. Got it. Skutt connects once again. Thanks to Dylan Van Dyke. Crete needs something to go their way. They give it over to the corner. Now wide open mid-range. No good. Rebound by Skutt. And there's going to be a foul on the floor. I think that's going to go on Skutt. So it'll stay with Crete after all of that. The Cardinals down by 4 points. Their season on the line. They inbound over to McDowell. Long three-pointer on the way. No good. Rebounded by Skutt Catholic. Kyle Cannon brings it across the Husker logo. At the top of the key. Now gives it over to Linderman. Skutt just taking their time, gathering their breath. Linderman being pressed defensively. Gives it over now to Cannon. Back to Doherty. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Doherty working his way all around the perimeter. Linderman now to Cannon. Top of the key. 5 seconds. Driving inside. Tough layup, and he's fouled on the way up. A perfect drive right there by Skutt. Milking all of that clock. And now they'll go to line 4-2.
Skutt looking to extend their lead here at the free throw line.
So here we go. Kyle Cannon with 2 massive free throws, and it's up and in. First one is good. If Skutt were to pull this upset, this would be the biggest we've seen in this tournament perhaps already this week.
And Skutt really didn't have a lead at all the way through.
Second one now for Cannon, good as well. 6-point lead right now for Skutt. Aiden McDowell is the one to bring it across the timeline. He's got to hit a big bucket right now. He brings it across now over to Gardner at the top of the key. Gardner working on Skoll. A little back and forth action. Tough three by McDowell, no good. It's rebound by Skutt. And you've got to think the Skyhawks get a bucket on this possession. It might be over. Oh, Doherty trying to bring it across the timeline. There is another timeout on the floor. This one will be Skutt's.
And McDowell on that last 2-point shot, he just felt a sense of urgency. He felt the need to force the shot.
We talked about early where he had that Kobe mindset where he's just taking any look he can find. And then the first half, it was paying off because he was draining those looks. And now that was a tough three-pointer. He really had no business taking it, but he found just a little bit of daylight and pulled the trigger. Didn't pay off. So timeout on the floor. Both teams have 2 left. Skutt, who trailed the majority of this game, now leads by 6, trying to pull a massive upset over the undefeated Crete Cardinals. Again, you can just tell from the body language of the Crete players, they have not been in this position all year long. And that's sometimes the bad thing about inexperience. You haven't been in the state title as much as Skutt. You haven't been in close games as much as Skutt. And right now you can see the more veteran team, which is the Skyhawks, are really taking advantage. So here we go. They inbound. Skutt has the basketball. Crete trying to double team and forcing a turnover. But Skutt will drive baseline. Just good ball movement all around. They have no intention of taking a shot. Instead, they're trying to drain this clock as much as they can. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Cannon working inside, taken away by Crete. Stays with Skutt. Now a long three-pointer on the way. No good. But it's rebounded by Skutt. A second chance. Disaster mode right now. And another timeout. Skutt's going to talk this one over. And as a Crete fan in the stands, you've got to be shaking your head in disgust with the last couple minutes of this ball game.
Crete just all out, just struggling to find any response right now for the Skyhawks.
And what's noticeable is even when Skutt misses a basket, they milk the clock and they get their own board, which gives them another opportunity.
I mean, and the resilience of the Skyhawk basketball team is very remarkable, too. I mean, they faced adversity all game long. In this fourth quarter, they've really showed out.
So 54 seconds left to play in this ball game. Timeout on the floor. Quick reminder, the next ball game up next, the Class B semifinal, Norris versus Scottsbluff. We will also have that here on Millard South Media, along with all of the Class A semifinals tonight as well. And, of course, the championships all day tomorrow. We'll be here with an audio broadcast of that. So, again, tune in. If you just want to pop in, check out the call. If you want to check in, check the score on the screen. It's all fine by us. We have that here covered for you on Millard South Media. And also subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on anything like this the next 2 days, just so you can pop right back in. So here we go. Both teams retaking the floor. Skutt will inbound up by 6. If they hit a bucket, you might think it might be over. Van Dyke to inbound, looking for somebody, scanning. He gives it over to Brock Skull. Brock Skull across the midline. And there's going to be a foul on the floor. So because Skutt's now in the bonus, that's going to send Brock Skull to the line for 2. Brock Skull. First one for him on the way and rattles home. Brock Skull once again. The most reliable player on this Skutt roster. Time and time again, they need him to come up big, and he does. Skutt up by 7, trying to extend their lead now to 8. Second one for Brock Skull on the way and rattles home once again. Shooter's touch. Crete, they need a bucket and they need it quick. Aiden McDowell bring it across the timeline. Guarded closely. Gets it over to the corner. Passing out the top of the key. Three-pointer on the way. Got it! Huge three-pointer by Grace Eggy right when Crete needed it. And there it's going to force a timeout by Skutt. So, excuse me, that's going to be a timeout on Crete with officially 41 seconds.
You can tell that both teams won it badly. Crete just not going away.
So 41 seconds. Again, they're going to talk this one over. So right now, if you're Crete, you're trying to trap Skutt off the inbound so you can get it to one of their worst free throw shooters, but ideally you're trying to force a turnover. And credit to the Crete student section. They have been alive all day long despite being down right now. This is probably the best student section we've seen so far here at State.
And you'd have to think Skutt's going to try to get it to Skull here. A guy who...
That's the thing about Skutt, Mason, is they have free throw shooters all around the court, guys who can knock it down. So here we go. They're going to inbound, looking for a man, surveying. They get it to Skull like you predicted, Mason. They're trying to trap him without a foul. He has to get it off, and they do get it to Cannon. Now a long pass. They find Linderman. Ball almost goes out of bounds. It does. And off of a tip by Crete, it'll stay with Skutt. So 31 seconds now. Van Dyke will inbound under his own basket. Looking for a man, surveying. Now feeds Cannon in the corner. And Crete fouls him immediately. So that's going to send Cannon to the free throw line once again. Kyle Cannon with 2 of the biggest free throws of his career. First one on the way, and he got it all net. First one up and in for Kyle Cannon. Now getting ready for the second one. 30 seconds left to play. Second free throw for Cannon, also in. Crete needs a bucket. Down by 7. McDowell across the timeline. Being double teamed. Has to put something up. Working his way all around the perimeter. Now feeds over the corner. Three-pointer on the way. No good off the glass. Rebound by Skull. He'll be fouled. And that's the equivalent of a victory formation with 16 seconds left to play. All signs point to Skutt putting the finishing touches on this one. So Brock Skull up by 7 right now for Omaha. Skutt will go to the free throw line for 2. First one. Got it. 8-point lead now for Omaha Skutt with 16 seconds left to play. Brock Skull with the finishing touch, no good. Rebound by Skutt. They need to go very quick here. Aiden McDowell across the timeline. And that's taken away by Skutt. 10 seconds left to play. They'll drive it across. No foul. They're going to dribble this one out. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Crete in disbelief, and this one is over. Skutt is back to where they belong. The Skyhawks stamp their pass back to the state title for the 3rd year in a row. And with that, the perfect season of the Crete Cardinals has come to a close.
And you could tell, Wilson, all throughout that 4th quarter, just Omaha Skutt wanted it more. They wanted the win more.
So we talked about this a little bit in the 3rd quarter, but Aiden McDowell was the reason why Crete led significantly in that first half. He had 21 points at halftime. In the second half, he only had 3 points. And really, the big question was, if Aiden McDowell cannot get going, who will? And the answer was nobody. And that's the reason why Skutt will get back to the Class B state title with a massive upset. Man, we can't believe what we just saw here. Again, the whole narrative going into this tournament that Crete might not be just the best team in Class B, but the best team in the state of Nebraska. And they fall today to Skutt. 55-47 is your final. So any parting thoughts here, Mason?
Well, I'd like to say that McDowell, he's a big reason why Crete, had those leads in the first half and in the 3rd quarter. But really, just Skutt showed a lot of resilience here. They faced adversity all game long, but, they executed under pressure, and they did what mattered most to win the game, Wilson.
Absolutely. Crete, super talented squad, very senior heavy, but they're led by a phenomenal head coach in Tony Siski. Would not be surprised if we see Crete back in a game like this very, very soon. Now, on the other end of things, Omaha Skutt, as blue blood as it gets in Class B, a history of success, and they win once again to go to a Class B state title. And that will be played tomorrow at 1 p.m., and we will be here with an audio broadcast of that game. So thank you guys for joining us here on Millard South Media for this broadcast. We will be back for Norris versus Scotts Bluff in about 30 or so minutes, and they will play the winner of this one, which was Skutt, tomorrow. So we'll see you then. We're also going to see you for the Class A semifinals tonight. Okay, do the staff, the staff ones.